Talking about Charlie Edwards.
Are we on? Okay. I'll call this meeting to order. It is the Bay Oaks Recreational Campus Advisory Board, commonly known as BORCAB. It is Tuesday, October 1st, 2019 at 9 a.m. And would you all please rise for our pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For the benefit of our transcriber, let's start. How about with you, Dan?
Good. Dan Allers.
Betty Simpson.
Becky Bodner.
Lee Melsick.
Barbara Hill.
Sarah Mayer, Parks and Rec staff.
Allison Geeson.
And Ray just stepped out for a moment for a quick call, and she'll be right back. And have we got an excused absence for Jana?
I have not received it for the October meeting. She was excused for September, which we canceled, so I have not heard from her, no.
Okay. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the August 6th meeting. I believe those were distributed before, and we just got another copy of them, so may I have a motion for approval of those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Dan, do I have a second?
Second, Barbara Hill.
Barb gave us the second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Those pass unanimously. And at this time, we would have public comment, but I noticed that we have a guest. Yes.
Good morning, Michelle Mayer for the record. Just yesterday, Mayor Saracita told me that there will be 2 council members who will miss the October 17 joint session. So she asked that I see if there's a date other. So I will present with you the dates where the chambers are available, and then when you get to your members' items, you could discuss it and let Allison or Sarah know if that works for you. And I'll leave this list. You don't have to write them down if you don't want. I'll leave this with Allison. But the dates are Thursday, October the 3rd, anytime. Friday, October the 4th, anytime. Tuesday, October 8th in the morning. Wednesday, October 9 in the morning. Friday, October 11, anytime. Or Tuesday, October 15, after 11 a.m. There's a public safety that morning. She asked that we schedule it prior to your October 17 date, so that's why I've chosen these dates. So if you could let Allison know, and then she'll let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you, Michelle. And I believe we have another gentleman. Oh. But he's going to leave us.
The council
Easy come, easy go.
The council will be available on the date we pick?
Yes, so you should pick some dates that work for you, and then Michelle will set it up as a joint session. It's up to you. You can if you like. I have the dates kind of listed out if you want to pass it around, because there was quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and our original date was the
Surely it's
17th.
Wednesday? Thursday?
Correct, Betty, and this is all before then.
Now, on the 15th, was that any time
Yeah, after 11 a.m.
after 11?
Yes, that was the only day that had a time. The other days are any time except for that date after 11 a.m.
Okay, and all the council members would be available at that time.
Michelle would set that up to make sure, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, do we want to do this at the end of the meeting then?
Friday? Tuesday?
It's 3, 4, 8, 9, 11, 15.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do the 8th through the 11th.
You can't do when?
The 8th through the 11th.
Can anybody
Okay.
do this Friday? Can anybody do this Friday? Or is that too soon for?
You can do any dates.
That's on the 4th, you're saying? The 4th is fine with me. I can do the 4th.
At 9 a.m.?
Available.
Works for me.
What
Okay,
about Becky?
okay.
Yes?
Sooner the better.
That's kind of soon. I don't know. I guess it depends on what we do today. How-
Well, everybody has their homework completed, so we should be in good shape to be able to go forward on the 4th.
Okay.
Friday's okay.
So-
October 4th, 9 a.m.?
Were we going to talk about that today?
Yes, Lee.
Okay. So tentatively, we've got it for October 4th at 9 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll check with Ray when she gets back in, too.
Sounds good.
All right. Again, we have a guest, and I would ask our town manager to step forward, please. Welcome, Roger.
Good morning. Happy, happy fiscal New Year, I guess.
That's right.
But anyway, as you probably are aware, we're about to embark on multiple initiatives in this upcoming fiscal year 2020. Many of them involve this committee. And we look forward to your active participation in bringing forth your ideas and suggestions. Things that come to mind immediately are we will be trying to put together a marketing plan for the town. We have a marketing consultant on board. We're going to ask each committee to have a robust discussion of their marketing ideas, and then the consultant will meet with each of the committee chairs. So the goal is to try to complete the marketing plan by early March. So we look forward to your participation in that and bring forth any and all suggestions you may have. The other initiative is one I know you're all working on, and that is to begin to scope out the future of the Bay Oaks campus. I know you all been doing some field work on that, and we appreciate your volunteering the time and effort to do that. And I'm sure you'll have a very robust discussion of what you found out in other communities and things that you would think will work well here in Fort Myers Beach. We have plans to redo Times Square that we're working on, St. Carlos Boulevard, as well as Bayside Park. And of course, the entrance lot into Bay Oaks are all things we're working on in this upcoming fiscal year. So it's going to be a very exciting time for all of us. I think we will be shaping the future of the island together. And I know that we have a great committee here, and you all will do everything that you can to make sure that all these efforts are successful. I think the town council did their part in setting aside money to be able to accumulate enough money to implement these ideas as they get finalized. So we should be well on our way. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have for me. And if not, I'll let you get down to the nitty-gritty of your meeting.
I have a question. What is the status exactly of our new lot on Star Boulevard? What are we doing?
Well, we own it. So we own it. We need to change the zoning from residential to public. But the design team, the council decided not to have 3 different designers, one for Times Square, one for Bayside Park, and one for a lot, but to have the same designer work on all 3 of those projects. So he had to start with Times Square because of trying to work around season for those stakeholders. But now that that effort's been done, he's had those meetings. He'll be reaching out to this committee, I'm sure, in the very near future.
Ms. Barber.
Now that we have RMA on board, which is about our
It's a marketing
branding,
firm. Yep.
right? So is there any interaction between what RMA is doing and what
Well, the answer is yes. What we clearly want to do is integrate that into what the design team is doing. So I think there's, whether it's physical features or color schemes or things of that nature, those things will be coordinated to drive home the branding of the town. The design consultant is basically in the data gathering stage. So I think that we shouldn't have a problem with keeping those scheduled on parallel tracks.
Concerning the old Tops lot, and Gulf Beach Road runs along that, is that a public road, or will that be part of the parcel that Tops develops? You know what, the Gulf Beach Road?
Yeah, well, my understanding is that road will remain a road. So we're in fact, right before I came in here, I was trying to schedule a meeting with the development team for the Tops property to try to get a better idea of what it is they envision and what impacts, if any, that'll have on the road and things affecting the town assets directly versus, their property.
Because that road will be right along their property, right?
Yes.
It is right there.
Yes.
It seems to me that you have to start considering and planning what that would look like and how it might be an advantage to us, to Bay Oaks.
Right.
As an entrance.
Yeah, well, we have to be careful, we have to be careful about, sort of this idea of tit for tat for zoning issues, but I think they're aware of, it behooves them to offer something that expands their public purpose, and they're well aware of that, I think.
And appearance.
Well, I think the overall appearance will get done when it gets redeveloped. The question is, are there opportunities to improve public access to the park through that particular street or not?
So actually, you would be in a position, or the town would be in a position to work with the developers in sort of a mitigation effort to say, well, okay, if there's an opportunity for us as Bay Oaks having better access through that egress, then it would seem to be that would be something that would be part of that conversation.
Well, I think they propose their project and they propose public benefit. We analyze that and we share those findings with the LPA and town council. They're the ones who they're sort of the ones that evaluate what concessions the town might be making in consideration of some public benefits they might be receiving. But, from our walking in the door standpoint, it's a public road, and we would treat the project pretty much the same way we would with any project along a public road. There's probably a little more focus on it because it is on the property boundary of Bay Oaks. But, I still foresee the new parcel being the main entranceway, versus that.
Has that been decided, the new parcel will be the entrance?
No, I don't know that anything's been decided. I think it was, I think the stated purpose of acquiring the parcel was to improve Bay Oaks access off of Estero. So that was the stated purpose, so I'm just restating that.
Do you happen to know the width of that parcel off the top of your head?
I do not.
I just didn't know. Another question I have is about the new line items. I believe it's called the Community Development Fund, or
Right?
Is that something that's going to stay there year after year, or will they have to vote on that continually every year?
Well, right now it's funded out of property taxes. So obviously if the council were to reduce the millage next year, that fund would not be growing. If they continue it, it will be growing.
Questions? Okay,
Okay, well, have a wonderful morning. I know you have a lot of work to do, so I'll
Well-
let you get to it.
and we appreciate your coming in,
It was a
talk to us
pleasure
this
to have an
morning.
opportunity to.
Oh, I have it, I have it.
Okay, all right.
Wait, just a minute.
I just want to make sure of this, regarding the new lot. We don't begin from this idea of this argument over whether there should be auto traffic, whether it should be open to turning off Estero Boulevard and coming across that lot into the pool area. We don't begin with that, do we? Hasn't that been pretty much discounted?
I don't know that it's off the table per se. I think there are people who expressed that they didn't think that that was a good idea, but I don't know that it's been, put in cement that it can't be reconsidered. I don't know anyone who's sort of pushing that idea. No one has came to me.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's, someone couldn't show up tomorrow and start.
Okay.
Okay?
you.
Thanks again, and I appreciate your hard work on the committee, all of you. I know it takes time and effort, so thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to items for discussion. The director and department report.
Did you want to just ask Ray if that date was okay, October 4th, so I can send the clerk?
October 4th. Did you hear all the dates?
No.
Well, they gave us half a dozen of them.
3, 4, 8, 9, 11, 15.
I should be able to be at any but tomorrow, so yeah, I'm good anytime.
Okay, so
October 4th?
October
okay.
4th, and I'll ask her at 9 a.m., and then we'll confirm with an email on that,
Yes.
okay? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sarah?
As you all have the packet with the directors and department report, if I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know it's the report that you've had a chance to review for a couple months now since we were unable to meet last month. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, but an update, we are in full force for Fright Night. The fire department will be on site starting next week to help us build the structure of the house, and then staff and volunteers will then begin decorating. Fright Night will be on the 25th of October, Friday, starting at 6 p.m. We've started our adult softball league. We have 4 teams that came back from previous seasons. They're in about week 3. It was postponed due to the hurricane and the uncertainty of the path of that hurricane. Club Rec is still going very strong. We actually had Gary from the newspaper yesterday. I sat with him for about an hour. He took a lot of pictures, got a lot of really good information, so we're eager to see the Bay Oaks Youth Program highlighted in the tomorrow's paper, hopefully. Any additional questions? Anything I'd be happy to answer for you all.
I just want to say that the numbers are pretty amazing.
Yes,
To
they
see
are.
that, I mean, it's really, really impressive to see how much it's growing, especially the water aerobics.
Definitely. The heater and chillers have definitely helped a lot.
I'm
I know
hearing
it's
more
been a
and
few
more and more
years
people
now.
talk about the water aerobics.
And I
Yes.
want to tell you, I go as often as I can, those 3 days a week, and sometimes it's a 2-hour class, and it is.
Robert, just move a little closer to your microphone. Yeah, yeah.
That
It
was
didn't-
heard,
It
but
wasn't. You want to
It
just
wasn't?
tell them how awesome it is again? Get the minutes. Sorry.
personal testimonial that I am a frequent water aerobics fan, and I try and go 3 days a week, and it is extraordinary. The quality of the instructors is superlative, and there are a lot of people in that class that really enjoy that program, and so just wanted to kudos to the town and to all of you on the staff to make that happen. It's really awesome.
I was actually at a friend's pool this Saturday, and I show up and she's doing some kind of stuff in the pool. And I said, what are you doing? Well, I missed my water aerobics class this week, so I'm just doing the routine in the pool. So it's catching on.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Do the instructors, I don't know, I had heard that there's a lot of women who go and who continue talking throughout the exercises.
No, not really. These are, I mean, the instructors really won't allow for that, and the music is actually just cranked up a notch, so it doesn't make, it's not really conversation inducive, and I, for the most part, not to say virtually everyone, but they're very dedicated to making all these moves work for them.
It's hard for these young people, the young instructors, to, make the older people just do the aerobics and not have a talk fest while they're doing them.
Actually, and kudos to the instructors for bringing that level of attention and wanting to make the most of that program. They are doing a great job.
Because I've heard people who won't come for that reason.
Well, everybody can do what it's like any other fitness class. You do it to the extent of your ability. So if people are, have the incentive to do a major workout, regardless of whether your neighbor is talking, is really irrelevant. You're there to work out, right? So, but I think that, everybody's different, but I would say 90% of the people that attend are very diligent in working out.
Good.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Next month's meeting, we'll have an annual report to compare. I know in these documents, we do month to month, so this will show our progress from previous years as we wrap up with the fiscal year as of yesterday, so. Any additional questions or comments regarding the reports?
I have a couple of dates to share with you all. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. The kiddie pool, the foundation has been constructed and inspected and passed inspection. So the next step will happen the week of October 14th, where Vortex will bring their install supervisor to be able to work with the contractor for installation. So we hope by the end of October it will be completed, and I'll keep you posted on that. The other, as Roger mentioned, the town manager mentioned about DRMP, which is the contractor, the consultant who's working on the 3 different properties of the town. He mentioned them. The date that I have gotten from Chelsea when BORCAB will meet with the consultant firm about the parcel at Bay Oaks will be October 30th. And she said that the invites would go out this week, and the times, she said she thought it would be in the afternoon. So Sarah will be sure to send those out to you, but please pencil that date in. That is one of the reasons why we wanted you all to do your homework, to be able to get a vision of the campus as well as your wish list for that parcel. As Lee made a comment and question to the town manager, nothing is off the table. So this is where you all come in and bring your wonderful ideas and your vision for that. And I really wanted everybody to think about it beforehand, so when you all go in there, you have something you can share with them, and we really make that experience as efficient as possible.
October 30th?
Yes, ma'am, Becky.
What time?
October 30th. It'll be sometime in the afternoon. Chelsea didn't have a time for me yet, but she said that she'd send the time out this week. So you'll be getting an email from Sarah.
What is the name of the company?
It is DRMP.
DRMP.
Mm-hmm.
What does that stand for?
I was going to Google that, and I don't know, Becky. Let me check on that. They're a company based in Fort Myers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they specialize in?
They specialize in planning. That was
Just
my
general planning, not necessarily
Well,
rec?
Yeah, I don't know. We would have to do some research on theirs. I know that they have all kinds of different consultants working with their firm to make sure that they bring in. But I will tell you, they are not master planners of recreational facilities. So this is not, but I do know that they have lots of great experience. I'll have to get that information from Chelsea from when they did their, and I'll have Sarah send that to you.
They're a group of engineers and surveyors.
Is that what it, yeah.
That's what their website says.
Okay, thank you, Ray. You're so quick with the
So
phone.
they're not really a design firm.
I don't
Doesn't come
know
across
all the
that way.
Very
consultants
different
who are
animal.
in there.
They've got several offices in Florida too. They got one in Orlando and stuff, but I
I'll
don't
have
know.
Chelsea
Here's-
send some info on their consultants, because I know that they bring people in. I know Kay Molnar is part of this group, as well as some architects and different people that they bring in. But I can't answer any questions about this. I'll have to have
It does
Chelsea.
say under their expertise quite a few things, and one of them says trails/parks and rec facilities.
There you go.
So
Very good.
Will it be just us and the,
Yes, Becky.
Okay.
This will be your time with them, as a
Good.
joint session, I do believe. Isn't that right? Yeah.
On the 30th in the afternoon sometime.
Thank you for looking that up, Ray.
Yeah. Very good.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to remember who they are. I think I knew they are, but they specialize in rec centers?
they have a bunch of specializations.
they pull
They're-
people in.
They do, it says design, build, stormwater management. It looks like they got their hands in a bunch of little things. So ecological services, geographic information systems, land development, structural engineering, surveying and mapping, trails/parks and recs, transportation, utilities engineering, visualization services. So they got quite a few things that they do. Sounds like a big engineering firm.
It is. It is a big
Big.
engineering
And they've
firm.
got offices in Orlando, Boca Raton, it
County
says.
uses them. How did we arrive at picking them?
The council picked them. So they went, there was a RFP, I believe, a request for proposal. Companies proposed put their information in, and the council actually adopted and chose the company. So it was a council, followed procurement procedure for the.
what will be the goal of this meeting? I mean, is this another wish list, or is this directive, or is this, we have a certain amount of money to work with, or this will be done, or, I'm tired of wish
This
lists.
will regard the homework that each of you are asked to complete, so we can bring them our ideas, and then it's their job to help plan what we envision for the property and for the other properties within the town. So by that meeting, I would like any other additional recommendations. If you were unable to submit that, I know Dan had some additional things you were going to send.
I mean, I'm great at wish lists, but I'm tired of it also.
Right.
And if this is really serious, we need a better, I mean, if this were serious, I would go around to these places and photograph them and bring photographs of what we really like. No.
Already done it.
Did
You
you?
submitted some photos.
Oh, I submitted a lot, but not
Yeah.
original.
No, I submitted. That's what I thought our homework was.
That
Yeah,
it
so
was.
the consultants will take information that you provide and do a design, and eventually it will come back to you and council. So you either have the opportunity to give input, or if you choose not to, but this is your time to be able to make a difference and put your vision in on the plan, because this parcel
Exactly.
will get developed and it will get rezoned, and we will start the process of that. So really hope you all bring your ideas, because now is the time to be able to share those with the company. Know that your microphone is not,
Okay, right.
Yes, right, Barbara, correct, yeah. Because they wanted you all to have consensus and have all your ducks in a row before you have the planning session with them, so you all already have a vision and you have information on what you want. I wanted this to be the forum for kind of the vetting of the vision, and you all provide consensus, and then going in, you're very organized with what your vision is, so you can relay that to the consultants, and it can be a very efficient work session. Yes.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the documents we passed out from a few of the board members? And that's where we can start the conversation, looking if there's items that I know a few others have made verbal recommendations about similar infrastructures and things like that.
The entrance part of the property, I know that it was originally purchased for an entrance. I would just hope that we could use it more than just as an entrance. You know, I was driving through driving through Illinois not too long ago, and it passed underneath an overpass, and above it was a McDonald's and everything else, so you could still go underneath it, but there was usable space above it. I don't know if that's something that's viable with that area.
It
I know you
is.
saw in here
Yeah.
something about offices, admin offices, stuff like that.
It
If
can
you
be
could
a
elevate a
multi-story,
structure,
yes. It can be a multi-story
dual purpose.
building, yes, with arches leading in. There's all kinds of designs.
Well, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
personally not a fan of a road because a road will look like a road. I don't think we need another road.
Right.
Because you have needs of your facility, which you've all defined in the strategic plan, and I would hope that you would try to match those needs with this parcel. So that was the whole homework, is for you to envision. We just went through the strategic plan. Everybody was very detailed with what they want and what is wrong with the facility now, where it doesn't meet the needs of the community. So I'm really hoping that you all can help fulfill some of those needs with this, and that's a great idea, Dan. You can
the
have
specifics.
multi-story. Absolutely. Both properties on either side are multi-story, so.
You bet.
I think you know, it's so wide, but you can always go.
But you
a
also
few
have
stories
two
up.
roads that are literally, what, 200 feet, not even that?
Right,
From it,
right,
you know,
right.
I just, do we need a
Yeah.
third entrance?
I don't
we
think
need-
so.
We need frontage
you know.
personally. We need
Yeah.
something that will grab
be-
people's attention right there, whether it be a
So it could
building
be a
or.
walking
or a
entrance,
playground.
pedestrian
Bikes,
entrance,
anything.
but not a vehicular entrance, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it being an entrance. That land could be
Not
used
for
for something
roads.
else that will
Yeah.
pop and make people say, oh, there's a rec
I
center
want to
back
go
there.
there. Yep.
Glad you mentioned arches. Yesterday or the other day, Steve McDonald from the Restore Arches reached out to me about possibly doing something with those at the Bay Oaks property. I have not been able to get in contact with him and actually speak to him. It was just voicemail back and forth, but I don't know if that's something that people are interested in or not, but he reached out.
Is there any consensus on the documents that are in front of you? I'll be happy, any emails, any ideas that come up prior to the 30th. Obviously, please feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to share with the board and staff.
I really like the solar panel idea. That's excellent. And I was also noticing the, I guess you can't really call it a floor, but it looks like a cork kind of,
Recycled rubber.
like asphalt
That would
or
be
tires or
comfortable.
whatever.
Yes,
Sure.
right. It's really wonderful.
That'd be great.
We had something similar to that at the playground on campus, and we found it was tracked in the gymnasium often, but maybe somewhere a little further away from an indoor facility. It is a great product.
One thing I don't see, and like I said, I've had a lot going on with family, but an outdoor workout facility, similar to the one like Chelsea had brought us a,
That's already being approved for the budget, so that got approved for this year. That's
Okay.
already moving forward.
okay.
We're good on that.
Because I think that somebody else recently posted on Facebook, and I said, we just had a meeting with this at Bay Oaks, so it's just, that's the way the trends are going.
Yes, that was approved.
That CrossFit
and-
type mentality, and I think it opens up another avenue of instructors and whatnot that can use that for
Yes,
for
staff has
classes.
already shown an interest to get certified for that, so
yeah,
they're
that's-
really excited, and we're excited.
Do we have a
to go
time
with
frame
that.
on that?
I'm meeting with a company today. We're all kind of, working on certain visioning, so I'm trying to wait till the right time of you all to kind of work through the strategic plan with council, and we get a good idea, and then as soon as that, so in the next month or so, we should definitely have some timelines. But yes, that did
Excited.
get approved with the budget, and we're really excited to move forward.
I think one of to your question about the trail, down on the bulleted points, the last one, I put down exterior circuit-based fitness trail meandering through the campus. So that would be probably in addition to what has already been approved, but actually have it as a
Extension of
circuit-based
that.
fitness trail as part of our wish list on that last page.
And that had been a goal from the beginning, that fitness trail.
Good.
And then we had a problem with the mangroves, I believe, at that time when,
There was a few issues we ran into
Yeah,
at
we
the
thought
time.
we could just do it.
Right.
Well,
We had hoped.
you can, and you just have to pay for the mitigation and work through it. And Park Lewis, who was, he works for an environmental consulting firm, and he helps mitigate and keep our mangroves at Bay Oaks and at Mound House. So he did have some information. It's just an expensive process. So if you wanted to, put anything through there, it would take some permitting and some money to be able to meet the standards of what the state has for those protected species. So we could do it, but it would be a process. But I did find out, what it would entail because that was new to me.
Another thing I really like on here is the kayak launch. If you could have a nice area for people to go in and out of there, which leads me to my next my next point. I don't think I could stress enough how important I think as much additional parking as we can get for that space as possible.
Yes.
You know, the thing that I kind of laid out the last time I handed to everybody, that I think had 132 parking spaces in it, which is triple what's there now. And I don't think that's going to be enough. And there's a lot of space to put stuff, but if there's people have no place to park, they're not going to come there.
Yeah,
Right.
and parking, as you all know, you live on the island, is an island-wide, constantly coming up with the parking. With the ride share and the trolley stop now down off of Summerlin. I mean, they're really trying to find creative ways to bring people to the island to limit vehicular pollution and just traffic. But I agree, Dan, parking is always at a concern. So, but we'll be looking at creative ways for people to arrive without bringing their vehicle. So we're going to be looking at that as well, because I think that can be utilized island-wide with the mission of environmental conscious, but having people come and enjoy our beaches without, having all the vehicles. So we're really hoping that we have some good programs out there that they've already started so people can come, but maybe come by alternate, transportation.
I want to go back to the entrances. What, are we sticking with the one entrance by the library?
New parcel, Becky?
That's not been decided.
The new
has it?
parcel is what the homework was for, and that's what we're discussing. Mhm. That new piece of property by the little pathway that leads.
Okay,
to
I
the
thought
pool.
we were discussing the whole campus. I
Well-
thought that was our,
That, you can't really plan for that parcel until you kind of think about the other parts to the campus. So that's why I didn't want you to forget about the campus as well, because, in the strategic plan, it's a revisioning for that. Well, then what do you want? I didn't want it to do one and not the other.
because if the parcel isn't going to be used for an entrance, we're left with one entrance, which is what we've always had. And that obviously has not worked very well, because people are not going to walk from Estero to the rec center. They're just not going to do
If you
it.
do a walking path on that parcel, but use it in a way that they're going to want to come. They got to have, it can be a fun senior building, but painted all these funky colors and, something that they're going to say, ooh, I want to go check that out.
Right.
And still a walking path. But to add a third driving path to me with all those kids,
No, we
it's
haven't
already a
even gotten
nightmare.
We've only gotten one right now.
There's two entrances technically. You have the school or the library, and you have right past the library there by the Seagret Plaza. Is that what it is? The plaza. Both of those go right in front of
Bay
the
and School
school.
Street, yeah.
And people use both of them to come to Bay Oaks, depending what direction they're coming from. So you
That's
have,
not an entrance, actually.
yeah, but you're going to add a third road.
No, the access hasn't been,
Those streets aren't going away.
the new plat it hasn't been decided that that's
Right.
going to be an
Correct,
entrance.
Becky.
Correct. But
So we still have one.
we have two.
Where's the second?
On the other side of the library. There's a road on either side of the library, and depending what direction you're coming from on the island is which road you're going to turn down to go to Bay Oaks.
I mean, that goes in front of the school, they have to turn left.
But that's where the people coming from the south end turn most of the time to go to Bay Oaks. So we have technically two. Do we need a
Correct. That's
third
correct.
road where
That's
a
right.
bunch of kids are riding
That's right.
bicycles?
Becky, I think I can tell you, I think I'm pretty confident in telling you that the new parcel is not going to be a road. That's not going to happen.
So we're right back where we started.
No, we're not.
No, it's about using it so
No.
people see the facility and want to come in there.
It's the exposure on Estero Boulevard.
I don't think there's support for a road through that property.
Pardon?
I don't think there's support for a road in that property, either on this board or on the council. So I think we need to get past discussions about making that a road. That's not going to happen. Ray's right. There are two entrances to this.
But it's not.
I use, when I come in from the south, I use School Street down there,
Yeah,
I do too.
come around from.
that's the main,
I've seen other people
and they
do
wouldn't
it.
let, the library wouldn't let us put a sign
It can
there.
be,
Oh, well, that can change.
it can be a little difficult when you're coming in during the time when parents are picking up their kids
Yeah.
down in front of
Right.
the school.
Right.
Okay, that can, but people use it as an entrance. So there are two entrances. What we need to focus on is doing a better job of seeing that everybody understands that.
Well, and
That they know how to get to
the
it.
town has right-of-ways on each of those corners. The town
Yes.
has chosen not to
Exactly.
fight for those right-of-ways. And believe me,
Exactly.
they fight for other people's right-of-ways. I'm in that fight myself with them. But
Exactly.
we need to get aggressive. Let's put a signage at both of those, Bay Oaks, at this, in the town's right-of-way. They have the right in front of that library.
Exactly.
Put it. They've tiptoed around them. Well,
Leroy wouldn't
we need to
allow
quit.
it. He
They
refused.
tipped,
Well,
the town has right-of-way.
Okay.
The town, believe me, are putting their finger on other people's
it's not up to the
right-of-ways.
library.
Exactly.
Okay. It's not up
And
to the
they
library.
need to take
thought
that
it
right-of-way
was.
and put some signage.
Exactly.
Because this goes back to Randy. He tried to get with Leroy to get signage on that corner. So this has been going on for many
For
years.
a long
Okay,
time.
but that's a moot conversation because that certainly has changed. I mean,
We
leadership
would-
in both institutions have changed.
We can
and I think-
recommend to the council that they get that the town get aggressive on signage on those rights of way.
Yeah, otherwise
We-
we're right back to where
we need
what
to
started this
recommend
whole
that.
conversation. A lot of people don't even know how to get there. So we can make that building and the new entrance as pretty as we want. If they don't know how to get there, it isn't going to
Right,
matter.
with signage.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, that to me is a bigger concern than what exactly right now the building
But I don't
is.
want you all getting hung up on these little details. RMA, the marketing firm, when they do their marketing plan, all this is going to be in. I'm not going to let that go away. So I know you all are like, nobody can see it, nobody knows about it, but, you know, RMA is a really great company, and I think that our needs are going to be met by them coming on board with different things that we can do to create awareness of that. So I appreciate all your input, but just remember in that marketing plan, you know, those are where the concerns are going to come in, and they're going to work directly with the firms to make sure all this is cohesive. So don't forget about that marketing firm that's
Well,
going to help with that.
we need to make sure that the marketing firm and the engineering firm understand that's what we want, because.
Yes, that's what
Let
Barbara's
the
question.
marketing firm and the engineers tell council, you need that right away. It doesn't necessarily have to come from us, although we can support that. But those two firms need to be involved in persuading the council to do something with those
Well,
right
and
of ways.
each of the advisory committees, BORCAB included, needs to write their wish list for their marketing as a directive, so can be put forth to RMA in that plan. So we would like to be able to have that, and Sarah will send out an email for you all to be able to reply to that, because we want to capture all of those issues and needs that you all know that need to be addressed with the marketing. And that includes signage, that includes just different things that you're now talking about. So don't forget about making sure you take some notes today to make sure that you send that, because that will be compiled and then fed to the consultant firm, the marketing.
And we're talking about both entrances, signage at both entrances.
You bet.
That's not an entrance. By the school, you have to go in front of the school, I don't think that's a good idea.
It's what we have.
I
With those
just
horrible
have
roads.
a comment with regard to these issues. That includes parking and signage and visibility and all of that. I am thrilled to hear that this design group is not just a design group, that they do have demonstrated experience with Parks and Recs planning, because I'm advocating to have this conversation with a qualified land planner to determine highest and best use of the available property that the town owns, so that, these conversations can be looked at not just by all of us as community advocates for Bay Oaks, but on a professional level to say, okay, this is how the island is being used, this is how the residents use Bay Oaks, and looking at how that is best configured. I don't think any of us are qualified to really do that. Now, I do think that there's a conversation as to whether we hire a land planner as a consultant to ferret out our wish list versus what we need for the island, the Bay Oaks to become, or whether this design group can really do that. If this design group has that experience and can be outsourced, I'm all for it. But I
Apparently,
don't.
they say they do. They have a land
Right, well,
plan.
Yeah, I think,
I didn't
I think
realize
you
that.
all will know after your meeting
Multitask.
Right.
on October 30th. Yeah.
Right, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think it's important that they are strong in trends. I mean, if you look back 5 years ago, pickleball probably wasn't in anybody's radar, right?
Exactly.
So what's going to be the trend 5 years from now? How do we encompass what we want to do to coordinate with what the trends are going towards? None of us are experts at that, but hopefully they are. Hopefully they can
Hopefully they
get
are.
a vision of what is, they are starting to see an uptick in exercise facilities, outdoor exercise, things like that. I think they have to be very good at that because, again, no matter what we put there, if nobody's going to use it in 5 years, we just wasted a lot of time.
Well, and I think the challenge that we have with Bay Oaks is that we're dealing with a very small parcel of properties combined compared to what Bonita offers and Estero offers with regard to sheer acreage to be able to accommodate all of these things. We have to really consolidate all of our wish lists to a rather small piece of property by comparison. I do think that there are tremendous things after having gone to these various places, many things that we're doing right. I mean, Bay Oaks is doing a tremendous job. I mean, the maintenance is looking great. I mean, the grounds are looking good. The programs are vital and robust. The numbers are up. The pool program is delightful. So we can build on that. But again, looking to the next 20 years about what this building can or cannot provide is the larger issue. And then obviously a generic wish list that then can be evaluated by a qualified land planner to say, okay, well, given the amount of property that we have, this is what we can fit into that space accordingly.
Well, except, Sanibel has a smaller piece of property too compared to Bonita and Estero. That's a relatively small piece of property they're on, but they have a marvelous community
Building.
center.
Right.
But we're back to my bugaboo. This brings us right back to my major concern. And I hope I'm not the only one that has it. Sometimes I think I am. When it comes to property, whose property are we talking about?
Exactly.
And where does it begin?
Ownership.
Where does it end?
So, Lee, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I am. In the strategic plan, that is a specific goal, is to resolve that issue. So don't forget about the
I know
joint
I know
session.
it's there,
And then
but we never
once,
talk about it.
yeah, but it has to get formally adopted by the council to give direction to move forward. So
And-
once that is adopted, then it will move
And
forward.
has there been any, the council has seen the strategic plan.
Your joint session is about them vetting the strategic plan, and then once you vet it on this Friday, then we'll move forward, and I'll put it on there as for a resolution to be formally
Okay.
adopted.
I intend to bring that up at this
Yes, yeah, and it's on there,
because
so.
I don't, I'm not sure that everyone agrees with my concerns or has the same concern about those property boundaries.
No, I think
But,
we do.
I
yeah,
think there's a lot of property back there, I know there's a lot of property back there, I'm familiar with it, that this town with the right negotiations, with the right sell, can use.
I think everybody understands and agrees with you, but personally, I'm having a tough time understanding. It's pretty clear to me who owns what pieces of property. Is it that you're wanting them to purchase that, or just do a land
Well,
agreement? Or that's where I'm getting
It
kind of
really
stuck on what you're.
dictates if we want to put a building in this, if we're going to redo the whole
A land
piece
use
of
thing,
land,
sure.
and part of it's owned by the school, that takes, and they don't let us use it, or give it to us, or whatever, that takes a big partial, over half that big field is the schools.
Right, and we
So
had
that-
brought this issue up
that
with
really-
Roger quite a few meetings ago, and
It really
he
changes
made
what
it
you can do
sound
with
like
that
that
property.
wouldn't be an issue with
Well,
the
I
school
think it'll
board
be.
playing ball. Now, I agree with Lee that we need to hash that part of it out, but as far as who owns the land, to me, that seems pretty clear, who owns what. It's just a matter of, what do we have to do
Not as
to make us.
confident about that as you are. I've been there before. I went through that in the early 2000s with the Historic Society. And I'm not so sure that everybody's agreed who has what land between the county and the school board. I'm not as confident as you are, Dave. But be that as it may, we need to make sure that we arrive at something that everybody agrees on that property, and that the town would agree to do some kind of, to negotiate the town being able to have more of the property than we have. I mean, I went through this in '03. What does the school board plan or not plan to do with that property behind that school? They've never done anything really with some of that property. I envision, if we're talking about a vision, I envision expanding Bay Oaks Park right into the school, right into the school. That historic school and those historic cottages down at the Historic Society become a part of Bay Oaks. Or Bay Oaks becomes a part of them. That's my vision.
Or that becomes a local agreement.
But to do that, some hard negotiating is going to be, I think, necessary. I almost had some of that property like I said, for the Historic Society years ago. I had the school superintendent agreeing that it could be done, and the lawyer came along and said no, and persuaded a majority of the school board not to do it. So it may take, and I know we have different school board today, and kind of have a different lawyer, all the only ones hanging around, but we need to drive this home. I think to do a better job than we've done with council to negotiate, to begin to understand, or hopefully to agree with the vision I have, that this is all one. This should be all one.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be planning something on this side of a ball field and this side of a school, and this should be all one, all the way to the cottages. And I know, or I'm pretty sure, that the Historic Society would love to participate with us in that. So we already have a friend in the Historic Society. The beach school, I don't know about. I don't know I don't know about the school board. I only know a couple members now. I used to know everybody, but that's my vision, that it's all one.
The one thing that I've noticed, and I took a drive-through yesterday on my bike, all of the chain link fence, and obviously it's as a result of 9/11, but the school board property looks like a jail. There's chain link fencing around
Absolutely.
virtually everything, and if there isn't a more off-putting visual that you get when you go into Bay Oaks, whatever entrance you want, whether you're walking or driving or on your bike, all I see are chain link fences. And obviously, a school board issue based on safety is one concern. But what we're trying to accomplish can be very much obliterated by what the school board has done with that land. And I
Voice on
mean,
that.
if the kids wanted to go to that big playground in the back, you had to virtually go all the way around and then go around, and then there was another chain link fence, and then there was another door and a gate and a padlock. Really, I mean, really.
Unfortunately.
If it's public property,
It's not.
Yeah, but it's the school, and, you know, with these shootings, they have to be able to lock down the entire facility. I think we have to
so
move.
there's that begs the question with what
We
Lee
have to
is
stay
talking
with it.
about. What do we have control over regarding that fencing, and what does the?
And I know the back playground is used during the day in PE, from what I understand, so that's why they have to have that locked off during school hours.
The fencing, you have to understand a little of the history of that. The fencing didn't go up because of school shootings. The fencing went up before the school shootings.
No,
Yeah, but it's
but it
staying
was by
because of that.
9/11.
It ain't coming down because of it
The
either.
fencing went up
It came after
primarily,
9/11.
the fencing primarily went up because of the homeless and what some of them were doing around the ball fields.
Absolutely.
That's why the fencing went up,
How
okay?
long ago was
Bottom
that?
line.
And I can understand that, although it looks like a state prison.
It does.
But every school nowadays does. I mean, Cypress Lake is the same way. You have one entrance in, and it gets locked, and there's a person there. You're not getting on that campus for any reason. But we got to keep it going, because I've got 10:30, I'm out. I hate to
So,
say that.
hey, we have to discuss this on Friday? What are we going to discuss?
Friday's the
Strategic plan.
correct.
Just the strategic
Yes,
plan?
ma'am.
Which this is part of it. The third option within property management is what Lee's discussing, so that will be on part of the
And
topic.
we have to know
Well,
that first, I think.
I think, well, okay, so let me just back up everything. What you want to do is to answer questions that the council has about maybe why they would not approve this. We don't have to have every answer. What we want is for them to say, go forth. That's in here. Once they say yes, then this is where all these other details will get addressed and will get resolved. We just want them to support this document because it has in there, as Lee and Barbara and all you are talking about, we need some answers on this. We need the green light to say yes. This will be a venue for them to look this over and for you all to answer any questions, for them to be able to approve this, for us to move forward. That's the only thing that we're doing on Friday, is just letting them ask questions about this, and then making sure that they are comfortable in moving forward. And that's a strategic plan, if you need another
Well,
copy.
if they start asking questions, though, about, by the way, advisory committee, what are your ideas for the new lot?
That's kind of a separate discussion with the
I
consultant,
understand
because
that.
we really want to stay focused just on this, Lee, and I will do everything I can to make sure that we utilize the time just for the strategic
Okay,
plan.
all right.
And then they know that that will be with them, because there will be other joint sessions with them once you all meet with the consultants. But so it's just a little bit too early, because we want to focus on this and then be able to move forward, and then the consultants will then be going to council for those properties, including the
That's
parcel.
pretty simple, what you expect us to do, and I agree with you. Let's stick to the plan.
Yes, sir, and.
Here's the
them
plan.
approving the
Here's
plan.
why the
That's right,
plan
and-
is the way it is.
That's right, and why we feel that it is important that they approve it and that we get the motion to be able to move forward. That will go into every budgetary, everything. If we can get this vetted with them and get it approved, then we will be on our way to being able to actually resolve some of these questions and issues that we have.
Yeah, it's very important. If we remember our last joint session, you could visibly see the frustration that we were getting very much off topic. You know, we kind of all were just throwing things at them, and it got a little, a little
so.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we focus on this, just to relate it to what I do, you know, we'll go in front of a client or a customer and get them sold on an idea. What goes into that idea after they're sold on the idea, it can be anything. It could be a blue pen, it could be a black pen, it could be whatever. But
We just gotta
you just
get
have
it-
to get them to agree that
Get it, exactly.
that the idea is what they want to do.
But I think we got a good start at that last meeting. I think there was a lot of excitement about it.
I think there was,
I got-
agree, Lee.
I think there were good vibes going on in that. I mean, I saw a lot of, I saw the majority of the council excited about what we were talking about. And agreeing with what we were
And
talking
agree.
Yeah.
So
plan?
I think we had a good start. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is to,
I was going to
finish
say,
it
if
up.
you could
How about
send,
just go give
the
her
most
that right
recent
now?
one I have is from July 25th, and I think
That's
we were
it.
making some changes
We only made
about
it to the
vision.
mission. Yeah, we only.
So now
yeah.
we're going to have a, so could you email that, the most recent one to us?
It only has the 2 words taken out.
Where's
the real
one?
What 2 words?
I think, wasn't it all and
Offer,
delight?
to offer,
All and delight. Those were the ones that came out.
and delight.
All and delight.
What's the matter with the light?
I don't know, Barbara. We'll have to look back at the minutes.
I can't remember now. It's
can't
been a-
remember
But I
either.
think we were looking, rather than delight to serve, I think
Yes,
that was
yes,
the,
yes.
right.
Right. Just a couple of words in there, but
And
otherwise.
But-
to offer rather than provide, I think is what I
I
have.
think
here
we
for
should
notes.
talk about, I think each member right now should talk about, should tell us
That's really the one that's
what
gonna be looking.
they see as what they would like to push, or
And
what part of the plan they would like to push and endorse and influence in our meeting with the council.
Yeah, I think,
campus?
Yeah, the
Okay.
plan, all of the elements of the plan, what each one of us would like to hone in on. Which one, I guess what I'm saying is which one, each council person, what interests them the most to influence council with.
so I just wanted, sorry, side note here. What you have, Becky, is the staff step-by-step plan, because it's important that you all see that. But actually, council will be approving the public plan, which is a condensed version of all the goals and objectives in there without all the detail of timeline and who's doing what. So Sarah's going to resend that out. It's going to be a different document, Becky. It's going to be a lot shorter. But you all need to have a copy of that, because as the advisory committee, once this gets approved, I do updates every 6 months. And so you kind of need to see that to see where we are with things, and you can see the progress as we go along. So that's a really important document. It has those details that you all brought out about programs and specific things. So, but Sarah's going to give you the public plan that will have that condensed, which is what the council will be adopting by resolution, in which this is drawn from. So she'll send that out.
Have a copy of our strategic plan, too, right, the most recent version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that one will be, Barbara, with those changes. So sorry, little side note there.
All right, back to Lee's idea of each member having the emphasis that they want on that entrance. That's,
Okay, well, I'll start. I mean, I just think, I think everybody, each committee member needs to know what the other one, what the others are, what's their favorite part of the plan.
yeah.
Or what's the part that they think is most important, or understanding that we all think the plan itself is important.
Right, exactly,
But we might want to
Emphasize.
discuss who wants to emphasize what. Pick a topic. Myself, I intend to emphasize a couple of things, not the least of which is I intend to bring up again the idea of the importance of looking at the overall vision for the campus. That
We have a clean slate, you mean?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also the importance of getting interlocal agreements with the county and the school board for cost sharing. I think I don't want to see that slip away, because I think that's very important. We should be, we should be getting the same thing the city of Sanibel's getting, from the county and the school.
That would solve some of the ownership
Those are my,
issues.
well, yeah, that, but but I mean the sharing, the interlocals for, the sharing in the cost of the lights on the field. The sharing from the school of those kids coming over and using our facilities. The school board, like I said, at Sanibel pays for half the cost of the gym, the electric. So I think the interlocal agreements that Sanibel has are interlocal agreements that this town should have. So I think that's important.
I think that we have I think all of them are on the same page as us. They've been bringing up exactly what you've been talking about lately as far as getting help from Lee County or other interlocal agreements like you're speaking of. So I think that they're well aware that that's what we were proposing, but I agree with you.
I
It
don't
doesn't
want them
hurt
to
to drive
forget
it
it.
home. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to help drive it home, I guess.
So those are the two things I'd like to emphasize.
Very Sproul, do we have, the last meeting, you made us a copy, or the one that may have been last, where the county showed how poor our facility was. Has the council seen that yet?
Yes, they already saw it. Yes, Ray.
Okay, so they're aware
Of the facility,
in the
yes.
lifespan, okay.
And I'll make sure to have extra copies when we have our joint session, because remember, we were going to, and Becky, you dropped off some good information on some survey information. They did ask for some background information, so we'll be providing that for them on just some, and that will be included in that packet. So we'll make sure we have all that together.
Very
Whenever you're giving counsel, you'll give us a copy as well?
Yes, Barbara.
Well, you've given them, they have now what they wanted, the reasons why we believe
Correctly.
we need to begin on a 5-year or
That's
whatever
right,
process
right,
to replace that building. So I think we ought to emphasize those reasons too.
That's, to me, I think that should be brought up, number one, because I
How
know
about
that
you?
was, Roxanne's biggest issue is like, well, why are we doing this? Why do we
Right.
need, that's a lot of money, why do we need, and I think that right there is your why,
Well-
without any discussion.
But
Well, we presented that information to
Yes.
council.
Yes.
And Rexanne has actually been the one sending out stuff or talking with, they had a meeting with Ray Sandelli a
Yes.
couple weeks ago. And that was her issue that she brought up to him was how Lee County contributes to the Estero facility and how we are the biggest heads in beds in the county, so why are we not getting assistance? So I think she's on board with it. I think she understands, and she's actually been a proponent of ours to get it up to the next level.
Yeah, so I think you have really great support on that, Dan, and thank you for bringing that up. Also, the budgetary item that somebody asked about for the town manager, was it you, Dan? There is tremendous support in making sure that our facilities are updated and meeting the needs of our community. So I think that you all should be prepared to answer questions, but I think that they have shown since that joint session that they are willing to support a lot of these initiatives, and it is very exciting to see that. So.
Yeah, and it's important to, it's not just for Bay Oaks that this fund was set up for. It was for the entire community even.
Yes,
You know,
for any
not just
facility,
this facility, yeah.
yes.
Well, let's step back a second.
Let's keep it going, Lee.
You know,
really wanna get to
I
the
covered politics for a long time, and I know that sometimes councils or commissioners say one thing, say something, get excited about something, especially when it comes to spending money, until they go back out in their community and they start hearing voices who have other opinions, especially about spending the money.
Right.
Right.
So,
The dollar.
and certainly this town council, there's no reason to think that they would be any different from that. And I think there's probably some dissent out there in the community about spending money to build a new facility and expand this and expand that. So they've been back out there listening to some of that. So I think it's always a good idea to stay on top of your visions and your beliefs by re-emphasizing the need to those council people and commissioners. I don't think that's something that should stop and allow you to sit back and say, well, we've got it made, because we don't. You don't know what is going on out there in the community when they start talking to their supporters and friends who may not like some of the things we're advocating. So I think we had support in that first meeting. I think it's up to us to make sure that that support is still there and continues.
And it'll be a big step in getting them to approve this strategic plan. So
Exactly.
we're all on the same page, right? As long as we get that, that's the next step in
That is the
in
next
getting
step.
it moved forward.
One thing at a time,
Yep.
right? Yes.
Yep, baby steps.
Exactly.
And just because we'd like to take that giant one, we have to do all this background first. And that's what everybody has done. So appreciate all of that.
Betty, now you'll be there.
I'll be there.
So,
Yep.
So you'll be, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. The council will be asking us questions. The council will be presenting something, or
So they will get the strategic plan, the action plan, the condensed version of this. It's just like a two-pager. And they will get that prior, and they will be able to ask you any questions that they have about any items on there. And then once that's vetted, then it should be where anything, discussion, changes will or will not happen, and then I can put it onto resolution for a future meeting to be approved.
okay, but when you say they'll ask a question about something on the plan,
If they don't want to approve
who's supposed to
something,
answer?
well, it will be the committee as well as myself and Sarah will be there. So we will do our best to be able to tell them why something is on there and why we feel the need that it is to go forward in the plan. So all of that information, Lorna Kibbe did a great job of recapping everything. They're going to have that already, so they're going to be able to refer back to that when there are questions to that. So I think that document will take care of most of the questions, but they may, have some detailed questions about some of the history behind an item. So it's always good, like you said, Lee, to be prepared.
That background.
But I'm confused. But you all will be answering those questions?
Yeah, we should all be prepared to answer any of the questions on there, for sure.
And probably there'll be questions addressed to the advisory board or questions, to the staff.
Right, exactly.
But I have to say, given the fact that you guys, way before I came on board, have been working on the strategic plan for years, you must feel very excited about the fact that, council is about ready to approve
To do something.
BORCAB's strategic plan. Perfect, finally, right? That's a huge step forward for the advisory board. But again, one step at a time, so
Yep.
this is,
And it covers all of those issues that we had before, whether it was on marketing, you can't find us, nobody knows where it is, all these things in that parcel that we've got out there is what's going to help us. And I think
But
that's,
that won't be part of the discussion, will it? Because we can't even agree on that.
It's just going to be the strategic plan,
yeah,
Becky.
it'll just be from the plan that we have. Okay. All right. Anything else on the joint session that we want to discuss at this time? Anything else?
When will they be voting to adopt this?
As soon as I get it on for resolution, after the work session, I'll get it on. I got to get with the town attorney to get the resolution written. It's already on the agenda, it just doesn't have a date. I was hoping to get it on the first meeting or second meeting in November, But now that we're moving up our joint session with them, because that was supposed to be on the 17th, we'll probably be able to move that up, Lee. I'll keep you posted, though, because I got to have time to get the resolution written.
Maybe able to move it up to the 17th?
No, that was that's not a council meeting. It would be able to, the meetings in October for the council are the 7th and the 21st. So depending on what is on the agenda for those, it wouldn't be on the 7th because you're having it on the 4th and they've already got the agenda packets out. Could be on the 21st of October or the 9th, no, wait a minute, or the 4th of November. So depending on how everything can get done, that would be the earliest would be October 21st for that meeting. And we have our staff meeting Wednesday, so I'll be able to look at the council agenda and put that on there.
Have our marching orders, so to speak, and especially after we get the revised edition of this, of the draft for the strategic plan.
Correct, you all have received previously, but I'll happily send it out today.
And there's only 2 words that were changed in the vision.
Yes.
So you already
Yep.
have it if you wanted to see it. It was
Yep.
just 2 small words in that,
Yep.
which really.
But you said there's two
Exactly.
different versions, right? There's the one that they're going to see and the one that you
We
sent
sent
us.
those, no, we sent you both.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes, Sarah sent you both. The public really, like I said, it's always good to have a short version out for public because that's our goals and objectives. And then the working document is the one you all have that changes as we work through. This is our living, breathing document that we use to make changes, so.
Send it out, you're going to say draft 2 then?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, and we
So we know
always,
the
we always change the date up there.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And then eventually it won't be a draft anymore.
That's right, it'll be a
Because we're
resolution.
getting ready to take that out. So, yeah, we'll resend that if you can't, if you don't have the other one. So Sarah will do that today for you all.
Good. Anything else on that? Anybody have any other question? Okay. If not, let's move on to board member items. Dan, have you got anything?
No, I had already brought it up about the arches that someone reached out to me about, maybe doing something with those arches at Bay Oaks. That's all I got.
Because I know they were at the park down there for a while, they were talking.
Yeah, there's talk
They've been
about
a lot
Crescent
of
Beach.
They've been a lot
Yeah.
of places,
Yeah, yep,
and they're still not there.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
But they did get approved, in my understanding, for 60 feet or something at Crescent Beach Park.
But it's right in
Yeah,
front of
50 feet.
bathrooms, so
Yeah.
your view's not going to be there. They keep saying, we're getting them, but what's the point? There's a bathroom in front of them.
Exactly.
So why? Well, okay. Anything else, Dan?
Nope, that's it.
Ray?
It just came to my head, and so I'm going to spit it out there, and then I'm done. If we don't know what to do long-term with that piece of property, a short-term solution that could easily be moved would be a playground with the fitness area next to it, along the road with the path. And then when the grand design comes up, those items can be moved to a different location. So you're really not wasting your money on the equipment, and you're using that facility where people will see it as they're driving by on Estero. Fitness play area, the tourists don't know there's a playground back there. They can't use the nice big one because of school most of the time. And you're solving 2 things with 1 stone, and it's movable. So you're not wasting your money.
What about
And a path, you could
what
even
about
have
the
room for a path.
proximity, though, to all that traffic with the kids
You
playing?
fence it. Most playgrounds are fenced, so you have to have a gate to go in, so the kids can't, run out. There's ways to do safety latches where the kids can't, toddlers can't open it. But it provides something for the tourists. If it's the fitness center, parents will work out while their kids play on the playground. You're creating a lot of people area, visible where people will see it. And if it's
That can be a good idea.
and you're not wasting your money on
As long
equipment.
as you also have the signage to let those
Absolutely.
people that
But it
this isn't a daycare center, this is Bay
Well,
Oaks.
yeah,
This
that's
is
any
Bay Oaks.
playground, you're supposed to have a parent there. But, we know are these kids, you're going to have
You're in charge,
10-year-olds
Lee.
that are going to go play on it. That are, believe me, I've gone to enough baseball games where there's no parents in the stands at all. So it's just a way to use that land temporarily in a way that you're not wasting your money until the bigger picture is solved.
That, I would build on that, because I think that's a great idea, but not talk about playground or kids. Use it as an adult fitness facility, because then you won't have to gate it and lock it. And if there
True.
are children, that the signage says adult supervision. So the
Right.
town is off the hook litigiously. So I think that would be a great, very low-cost solution.
Yes,
To something they're
give
already
visibility.
building,
yeah.
The fitness
as long
center,
as
yes.
you're using the land, you're making it, you can still do your signage, you can do your path, but it's a way of getting people
Fair.
aware of the facility in a short-term way. And in 5 years, if we build a senior center there, or whatever, you're just moving equipment. You're not wasting your money.
Exactly.
Great idea.
And I'm done.
All right. Well, I think that you did a great deal.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, wait a minute.
That was very good. I like your drawing.
Yeah.
Okay, Becky.
Newsletter, I haven't, when were we going to get the newsletter on the town site?
It's there available now. It's on the Parks and Rec page. So if you go to fmbgov.com and then hit Parks and Rec, it's the first
Yeah, I
thing
know,
that'll.
but it's not there. I mean, October isn't there.
Well, it was September and October, so Danielle will send out again in October, today, the 1st, since we're going to do it every month. So it's, September and October was released at the same time, but we send it out monthly just as a reminder for patrons.
I mean, I think you shouldn't be sending out the October calendar on October 1st.
It was sent out late August, so September and October calendar.
So that information is already on the website.
Correct, Barbara.
Yes.
For all of October.
Yes.
And the one you're sending out will be just a
A
reminder.
refresher, yes.
I didn't see all those, but
If you don't receive an email today, please let me know and we'll make sure,
I
but
mean,
we are
it should
sending
be
them out.
in advance of the month, like at least a week before. The newsletter should contain the events for the next month.
Correct, yeah, it's a September, October newsletter, so it was sent out a few weeks into August, I believe, and that was for September and October. We'll just send it out monthly as a reminder, so it pops back up in your newsfeed, your
Follow
email.
up.
You can go on the Facebook page, too.
Yes,
Yeah, you bet.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I want to commend Allison and Sarah again. I think this should always be on the record, for another superb job of moving us through the confusion and preparing us for the meetings. I served 2 terms in the early 2000s on this panel, a different panel. And again, now this is the end of my 2 years here. And this is the best staff we've had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think they're excellent, and I think, as I suggested at the last joint meeting, I think that the town manager should be wrapping both of them in a warm blanket and making sure that they're not going anywhere. So thank you, ladies.
Ropes and chains if it comes to it.
Yes, yeah, if necessary. Barbara?
Actually, I want, because Dan brought it up about someone approaching, Steve McDonald probably, approaching and our advisory board about the Restore the Arches issue. I just want to go on record to say that I oppose any recreation of the arches anywhere, even unless it can be at the same scale on the same property as was originally there, serving as a landmark, as an entrance to Fort Myers Beach, but not on Fort Myers Beach. And to me, that's a historic landmark. I mean, I grew up with it too, as Lee did, and Betty, I believe you were on the beach at that time too. And so it's beloved by all of us. It's not to take away from the importance of that landmark, but to place it anywhere else other than where it was originally, to me, does a disservice to it, and especially if it's going to be an issue of changing the proportion from its original scale is completely wrong on so many levels. So just as an FYI, I don't want it on Bay Oaks. I don't want it on the county park. I think we can maybe put a plaque and a photograph of the original arches somewhere on the town's property as a remembrance and a memorial, but that's it. Thank you.
I second your concern. In neither one's going to happen. The state's not going to put it back up over San Carlos Boulevard, and there's not enough left to recreate the entire arches. I've seen them. So neither one's going to happen. I too played on those arches when they were original. Fell off them.
Right.
So I did. I fell off the top of them.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
That's the
what
reason you
happened.
have what you have.
That's what happened. Okay. Well, I think that we have shown that we are moving forward. We've taken issues that we have talked about literally for years and are moving with them. And I feel that...
Many years.
Yes. And I feel that this council, we need to take advantage of the fact that that they are interested and have given us support in their various ways. And I just think that we're very fortunate now. In October, we're going to have 2 meetings. We'll have the one on Friday at 9 in the morning. And then we've got the one on the 30th. And
30th is in the afternoon.
yeah,
We don't know
30th
what
is in the
time yet.
afternoon.
We just didn't have a date on
Friday
it
at
yet.
9 was what was proposed for this Friday.
Yeah,
But we don't
Friday's
have the
9
exact
o'clock?
time.
yeah,
Here.
yep,
Okay.
yep. So,
Will there be breakfast?
OJ and some donuts?
yep. Anyway, I think that we're very fortunate to be at the point that we are. And I thank everybody for all the input that they have given. Through the years, I've had the opportunity to serve on the Lee County Parks and Rec, so have had the chance to visit all of these various parks throughout Lee County. And to see the pictures of them coming back up again, it's interesting to see the things that are important to us at this time. And I like the big openness, obviously, that open air, whether it's going to be something this grandiose, you just don't know. But it certainly we have the opportunity to have those things because we've got the beautiful park and the view out there, and we need to take advantage of it. So I think that we've come a long way, and I appreciate everybody's input on this, and can't thank Allison and Sarah enough for pulling all these things together. And appreciate it. Thank you.
It'll be your job Friday to, I think I started at the first meeting. I think I rambled a little bit, and it will be your job to cut me off.
Well, I don't know why I should cut you off. Cut you off?
If you don't do
Someone
it,
write that down.
If you don't do it, Ray will.
It's on the record still, signed.
If you don't do it, Ray will, so I'm.
Well, you know I will. I'll kick you under the table.
An investigative reporter, you expect us to stop you? There's no way. No,
I'm sitting next to Lee, I'll pinch him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ray, you've got to sit
All
next
right,
to
we have a
I
plan.
got it.
Okay, so we have future meeting dates. Our regular meeting then for,
I believe it's November 5th, the first Tuesday at 9 a.m.
yes. And that will also be Election Day. You realize that?
Well, is there anything that being voted on this time?
BORCAB, November 5th.
Okay.
Did you put in your application?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that goes to the first meeting in October.
It's on the
Just you.
7th.
You and Ray, yeah, nobody else.
Nobody from the community? You know, that's
not-
interesting too. Why is that happening?
They don't advertise it well, I think is the issue. They don't know.
Well, and there's the RMA, the marketing, well, and the public information officer as well, that the town is talking about.
Well, we've advertised seats up before and still nobody,
I think what'll happen is usually like November, December, when people don't re-up, like I know somebody is not re-upping on the safety board. If nobody applies for those positions in October, then they advertise it, usually in the paper, I've seen it, where these positions on all these boards are available, to get interest. So I think September, or October, November or December is when we usually find out what positions are still out there. And people then start applying.
We have a full committee.
It takes a lot of responsibility and care to participate in these committees for the town, and what's the reward?
you know, I'm not sure that's valid. I still make every cocktail hour. I mean, this doesn't take up a whole lot of my time.
Exactly.
Well, but see, you've got your priorities.
drinks.
The same thing happens with clubs.
There's something else at
nobody
work here,
wants to
and I
be
don't
an
know what it
officer.
is. but-
Priorities are important. Okay, so our
Community
next one
service.
would be,
It is its own reward.
yes, indeed. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I so move, Barbara Hill.
Okay, Barbara?
I'll second it.
Dan? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we are adjourned at 10:31. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I saw that.
I mean, that's a big,